In a world where noise is mistaken for strength and emotion for power, there exists a man who has mastered the one thing everyone fears: silence. His name is Kiyotaka Ayanokoji. To some, he's invisible. To others, emotionless. But to those who've truly seen him, he's a ghost in plain sight. A quiet mind that moves people like pieces on a board. A presence that dominates without speaking a single word. Ayanokoji doesn't chase victory. He builds it quietly. He doesn't need attention. He doesn't crave validation. He understands that the world is a system, and systems are built on rules. Once you learn those rules, you don't need to break them. You bend them until they belong to you. Every person around him is predictable. Their words, their anger, their confidence, all of it is data. And Ayanokoji collects it all. Not out of curiosity, but out of control. He doesn't see people as friends or enemies. He sees them as variables. He studies what makes them move, what makes them fall, what makes them think they're free when they're already trapped inside his plan. Because Ayanokoji's mind doesn't react, it calculates. Where others see emotion, he sees weakness. Where they see courage, he sees pride ready to shatter. He doesn't stop people from making mistakes. He simply lets them, and when they fall, they never realize that the ground they're landing on was placed there by him long before they jumped. That's what makes him terrifying. He doesn't threaten. He doesn't warn. He simply exists, and his existence alone changes the balance of power. He's not a monster. He's not a savior. He's something far more dangerous, a man who understands human nature, because once you understand people, you don't need to control them. They control themselves for you. Ayanokoji lives by 3 rules. 3 silent laws that define the way he manipulates, observes, and conquers, not with force, but with precision. They aren't philosophies to be followed. They're truths to be understood, and anyone who tries to challenge him ends up playing a game that was designed by him from the start. So when people ask, what makes Ayanokoji different? The answer is simple. He doesn't play the game. He is the game. And those who try to challenge him, those who try to outsmart him, always end up realizing the same truth. You can't defeat someone who's already 3 moves ahead, because he never reacts. He calculates. This is and these are his 3 rules. Rule 1. Never show emotion. Control it, use it, and weaponize it. Emotion is the easiest way to be controlled. People think emotions make them human, but Ayanokoji knows the truth. Emotions make you predictable. Anger, fear, love, pride, they all reveal the same thing: your weakness. He never smiles without a reason. He never frowns without purpose. His calmness isn't peace, it's armor. Because when you stop showing what you feel, people stop knowing where to hit. The world runs on reactions. One insult, one glance, one word, and most people lose their balance. But he watches. He lets chaos unfold until everyone else exposes themselves. In that stillness, he finds control. Because silence isn't emptiness, it's power compressed. The less you speak, the more people imagine. The more they imagine, the more they reveal. He studies every face, every hesitation, every heartbeat that skips when fear takes over. He doesn't fight anger with anger, he redirects it. He doesn't suppress emotion, he understands it so deeply that it becomes his weapon. To Ayanokoji, emotion is like electricity, dangerous when uncontrolled, unstoppable when directed. That's why he never lets anyone see through him. He can fake empathy when needed, mimic fear when it benefits him, or show kindness just to disarm the enemy. Because once people think they understand you, they stop protecting themselves. He turns emotion into strategy. He uses silence as pressure, calmness as intimidation, logic as domination. The moment others get emotional, they fall into his design because rage is blind and fear is loud. And Ayanokoji thrives in both. This is his first rule: feel everything, but show nothing. Because the one who shows emotion loses control, and the one who controls emotion controls everyone. Rule 2: understand people, not who they pretend to be, but who they really are. Every person wears a mask. Society forces them to. They smile to hide fear. They talk to hide insecurity. They act confident to cover desperation. Ayanokoji doesn't see the mask. He sees the cracks beneath it. When someone lies, he doesn't listen to their words. He watches their rhythm. When someone laughs, he measures the distance between their eyes and their truth. Every gesture, every silence, every delay, it tells him who they are and what they fear most. He doesn't manipulate people by force. He manipulates them by understanding what they already want. Give someone what they crave: power, validation, comfort, and they'll follow you without realizing they've surrendered. That's Ayanokoji's art. He doesn't bend minds. He lets them bend themselves. He knows that people are easy to read because deep down, they all seek one of three things: attention, control, or belonging. And once you know which one drives them, they're already yours. That's why he never rushes. He observes, waits, listens until his target exposes their entire self without even realizing it. They think they're leading the conversation, but Ayanokoji already mapped their next 5 moves before they even spoke. He doesn't manipulate out of cruelty. He manipulates out of necessity, because in a world ruled by chaos, understanding people isn't a gift, it's survival. So when others ask, how does he control everyone without speaking? The answer is simple. He doesn't control them. He simply understands them better than they understand themselves. And that's the second rule to control others. First, learn how they think, how they break, and what they fear. Once you know that, you don't need power, because they'll give you theirs willingly. Rule 3: hide your power until the world forgets you have any. In every society, people crave recognition. They want applause, praise, attention, proof that they matter. Ayanokoji wants none of that, because the moment you're seen, you become a target. The loudest man in the room attracts envy, hatred, and opposition. But the quiet man, he becomes untouchable. He hides in plain sight, blending into the crowd, pretending to be average. Let them underestimate him, mock him, ignore him. That's part of the plan, because people don't defend themselves against what they don't fear. And when they lower their guard, that's when control becomes effortless. He doesn't flex power, he times it. He doesn't show dominance, he reveals it. Only when it's too late for others to react. Ayanokoji knows power isn't about being seen, it's about being unseen until visibility becomes destruction. When he acts, it's surgical. No wasted motion, no noise, no emotion. By the time his opponents realize what's happening, the game is already over, and they're still trying to figure out when it even began. That's why he hides, because true dominance isn't shown, it's felt. It's the fear that creeps in when silence becomes unbearable. It's the doubt that grows when someone realizes they never really understood him. This is the third rule: hide your power, hide your purpose, hide your plan. Because the deadliest minds aren't the ones that scream victory, they're the ones that smile quietly. As the world moves exactly the way they want it, Ayanokoji doesn't inspire people to follow him. He inspires them to fear being against him. He doesn't need loyalty. He creates systems where betrayal itself becomes impossible, because his strength isn't in muscles, or fame, or force. It's in silence, control, and patience. He's not the hero. He's not the villain. He's the balance between the two, the reminder that intelligence, when weaponized, is the most dangerous force on Earth. And that's what separates him from everyone else. While they chase noise, he creates silence. While they seek power, he creates control. While they dream of victory, he designs it quietly, piece by piece. So remember this: power doesn't belong to the loud, the proud, or the seen. It belongs to those who can stay calm when the world burns, to those who can wait when others rush, to those who can see through people without being seen themselves. That's what makes Ayanokoji different, and that's why the world fears him. Because you can't defeat someone who doesn't fight, doesn't react, doesn't even care to win. He simply calculates. This is the mind of Ayanokoji. These are his rules. And if you understand them, you don't just think like him. You become like him. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Ayanokoji's mind, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to DarkPanel, where silence speaks louder than words.